That's the second novel.
Oh.
And then Runaway Max is apparently another novel they're putting on June 4th. Holy shit, man. They are going for it. Alright, well.
Okay, that's not going to work. We got Orange again.
Graphic novel, volume 1 is available.
Maybe we'll roll with the orange and see if it turns green like last time. Just waiting for people to show up. La-di-da. Jason JV, what's up? Popping out the chat. Got Fueguissimo joining me in a second here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Fuego.
Ah.
Alright, so we're still showing yellow. I hate when it shows yellow, but the yellow turned green eventually last time. We look okay here. Let's see how we look here. No, we look pretty good there, too. Everything looking and sounding okay to you guys?
Let us know if it's no bueno.
Let us know in the comments down below before we get this thing going. Oh, shit. Robert Duell is here. What up, playa?
Yo, Robert. What's up, man?
Yeah, you saw him when he was at our panel, right, the other day?
Did I?
Yeah, dude. Tall, bearded dude.
Well, I know Robert because he worked at Grotto, man, when I played some shows.
Fair enough. I know him because he's a cool dude that Susie introduced me to, and he was there. Shauna Smith is here. 1958 Dark Star is here. Jason
Mikey
JV,
what's up?
What's up?
Yeah, Mikey's probably working right
Just
now.
working. Okay, White Tim is here. What up? What up? And Mikey Mnemonic. What up, brother? Don't want to know anything. 30-year kaiju fanatic. Mikey, I'll just say, you're in for a treat, pal. If you don't mind...
The kaiju were great.
Yes. If you don't mind... Well, these movies are not about the goddamn characters. These movies are about the monsters.
They are.
And we're green. So,
and we're green, which means
I will say, to that end... Oh, I can't wait to talk about this movie. We're letting some people filter in a little bit. Scott Baker is here. What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
Ray Dawn, loud and clear. Thank you. Yeah, guys... This movie, we are going to be talking all...
F the human. What's he saying?
Kaiju is all I care about.
F the humies.
Absolutely. Mikey?
Oh, man.
Okay, well, look, I'm just going to flat out say this. This is my absolute favorite Godzilla movie, period. Of all, including the old, including the new, including King Kong, or Kong Skull Island. I like this better than Kong Skull Island.
I think I like Skull Island better, but they're really
maybe
close.
Because story,
they're really close.
Maybe because story, but this, as far as a creature fan, this was my mecca. This was I had warmth running throughout.
Less than 10 months away from the March 13th release of Adam Wingard's Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah. It's exciting, guys. It's exciting. So
it's an exciting time to be a fan of big creatures trying to kick the crap out of each other.
So most people are saying looks and sound good. Shauna says a little bit of trouble. By the way, they was a burning Godzilla. Neon Spidey time. Just kidding. Okay, fair enough. What up, Neon Spidey time? Jesse T. Let's be careful.
And I'm thinking what they showed. I didn't
watch the last
couple trailers.
So
either.
Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
Let's not talk about it. I know what we're thinking.
That's why we
are going to do a separate spoiler discussion.
Cut it out!
We are going to do a separate spoiler discussion. We are not going to be ruining anything for you guys here.
No.
We are just going to be giving our overall impressions and thoughts. And so, The Beast. For some reason, I didn't enjoy Skull Island that much. I'm so stoked for this movie.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So here we go, guys. We have enough people here that we're going to go ahead and jump into this. We don't want to make people that are watching this later wait too long. So we'll do this review like we normally do our reviews, right? We'll do our overall thoughts. Then we'll talk about the story. We'll talk about the acting. Talk about the effects for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll talk about the music, all that good stuff.
Music actually really stuck out to me in this. The music was grandiose, dude.
I agree. Oh,
Big
Neon
time.
Spidey Time. The CGI was actually good, so Neon Spidey Time got to see it.
Nice, dude.
Do we know you Neon Spidey Time, or are you just elsewhere in the
Thank you,
country
Jesse
and you got
T.
to see
I
it?
loved Skull Island. I thought Skull
I
Island
like
was
Skull
great.
Island too. I thought Skull Island was definitely a step up from the last Godzilla, but I think this one is a step up from both of those.
And yet, even Gareth Edwards' Godzilla was really not bad. It just
It wasn't bad. It just cut
took
away
the
from
Jaws
Godzilla too
it
many
just
times.
it deliberately took the Jaws approach, and I don't know if that was for budgetary constraints or whatever, but yeah. Oh, Corey Novak! Yeah,
Corey, what up, Leia?
What is up, dude? Good to
Dude,
see
did
you
you
in
see
here,
that
man.
he framed the shirt we
I did,
sent him?
I did.
Dude, he is bomb.
Corey's badass. We have to go
Corey's
back.
awesome.
I mean,
Straight
next
up.
time we're in Charlotte, man, we gotta, make sure we convene things properly.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
most
So
stuff.
let's do this, Fuego. Overall thoughts. I'm gonna let you go first
Are you
because
now?
I'm very curious about your thoughts because you
Because
were
you
oddly
overheard
quiet.
you overheard me with Monty a few times.
No, not really.
Oh,
I
you
was
did?
focusing on giving my opinion to the lady behind you, in case
okay.
you didn't realize. No, but I got the impression that you weren't as jazzed as I was walking out of the
Not
theater.
at all, not at all. I liked it, but I didn't love it, and that was because of the fact that I felt like the writing for the people was unbelievably stupid in this movie.
I don't think it was that bad.
Okay, well maybe that's just.
I don't think it was that bad.
It's really not very good though, and so that's the thing though. You don't go into this movie as you said. The price of admission is because you want to see these crazed creatures kicking the
Let
crap
them
out of
fight.
each other. Yes, and they did a tremendous job. This is a masterfully directed film. I feel like Michael Dougherty made a great looking movie. I feel like the CGI was some of the best I've ever
Michael
seen for some
Dougherty
of these
stepped up.
For some of these big time creatures.
Stepped up.
Yeah.
Guys, the guy that directed this is the same guy that directed Trick or Treat and Krampus.
Yeah.
So
both of which are really good, but they let
he
him
stepped
off
up,
and
bro.
running, man.
He stepped up.
Yeah.
You would not look at this movie and be like, that guy directed two kind of culty horror movies.
Yeah. This
You know what
was
I mean?
him,
Like,
this
no,
was
he
Arrival.
stepped up, bro.
And this movie's gonna make a lot of money.
Woo!
This
movie's gonna make
I
so
placed
much
my
money.
bets on it. It's gonna make a lot of money.
So
But
much money.
problem that I had was that there's a lot of illogicality from certain characters, and I felt like the scripting was lazy as far as just human motivations,
Okay.
and it was really tropey in certain ways. But that's the thing. You don't go to this movie for that.
Thank you.
And as my father would say, you
That's
check
a good
your
bridge into my
you check
overall
your brain
thoughts.
in at the door, and everything else about it, from the presentation to the score,
From chimpanzee to
every
chimpanzee.
I hate every monkey from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. They finally made a monkey out of me. Although, well, I guess
I didn't mean to
shouldn't-
derail
I
us that
shouldn't-
far. Sorry,
I
go
know,
ahead.
I
Go
know.
ahead,
I'm
guys.
singing
Back to the
McClure
thing.
over
Back to
here.
the thing. Back to
No, I
sense.
think just to summarize really quickly is that I think I was expecting more from the human characters because the cast was so stacked. The cast
I was not.
stacked.
It
in
was
this
not
movie.
stacked. It was
There
two
was
people. It was Millie Bobby Brown and Vera Farmiga.
But-
Those
okay,
are the two
but-
people everyone knows.
but
And
the
the
people-
dude from Game of Thrones.
And the woman who just won an Academy Award, who was in the previous one, and the
Well,
fact
she-
that
she
Ken
was in
Watanabe
Shape of
was
Water,
back.
right?
She
Wasn't that-
was.
she was in
yeah.
Shape of Water.
Sarah, Hendricks or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
in
something
any
like
event,
that.
yeah. And I mean, even beyond that, she middle ditch, whatever.
Thomas Middleditch.
Yeah, he was
Love
in this
Thomas
too.
Middleditch.
There was a lot of familiar faces. Plus, you had Ice Cube's kid in this. Plus, you had that the
Was
girl?
that him, really?
That was
I
totally
didn't
him. Yeah,
realize that.
yeah. There was a lot of very recognizable faces in this movie, and so for that reason, I think maybe, and also the guy who played the husband, he was from Friday Night Lights and tons and tons of other things. There was a lot of
He's been in a
recognizable.
lot, yeah.
He's been in a lot of things. There was a lot of
Recognizable,
really
but
recognizable
not like
actors.
star power.
Well, not A-list star power,
No,
except
no.
for maybe Vera and Millie.
No, and you know why? That's a
Yeah.
good segue. Because this movie isn't about the human actors.
It's all about the
This
creatures.
movie is about the
You can
monsters!
tell from the script.
Thank you! This movie is about the monsters, and that is what I wanted.
And that it did right.
That it did 100%. That it
awesomely.
did 150% awesomely.
Very
this,
much so.
and not only that.
I wanted
not
more.
only that.
I wanted more, honestly.
Oh, I wanted more, but I got so much that I was satisfied.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: it does not lose. This one is actually more of the flair of the original Rubber Suit movies. When sometimes creatures fall over and stuff, are like, that kind of looks like a dude in a rubber suit.
Yeah.
They purposefully did
did.
that. It was awesome.
It was the way he actually fell down, like on the back. and
Not that,
everything,
not only
and
that,
no.
but King Ghidorah He is
Well,
the
actually,
three-headed dragon that has just the 2 feet, and he can, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and I guess the pronunciation on that character is
Ghidorah,
debatable.
sorry.
Is
Ghidorah,
debatable
Ghidorah.
Well, I mean,
I know, I'm
I've
probably
heard
saying
you
it
and so
wrong.
many other people saying Ghidra, and then they were like, Ghidorah. And I was like, okay, it's kind of like Gojira, Ghidorah, Gojira.
Gojira, Godzilla,
Yeah.
Ghidorah, Ghidra,
I don't know.
whatever. King Ghidorah.
Yes.
Forgive me. I'm probably saying it wrong, so I will correct. So my overall thoughts were
He was awesome. The king looked great, dude.
We'll get to the effects.
Yeah.
So my overall thoughts were I had such a fun time with this movie. This movie was exactly what I wanted it to be, which was minimizing the human element, maximizing the monster element. That is absolutely what happened from moment one. Like, they're like, hey guys, just so you know, we're gonna show you the monsters. You know what I mean? Like, from the third shot, I think it was maybe the third or fourth shot of the movie, you start seeing creatures.
Well, with how many of them they hinted at, I mean, come on.
Well, and there's backstory and stuff like that, but this is what this is about. I mean, think about it. Here's the thing. I was like, as the credits were rolling, because we were waiting for the post-credit scene, which there is a post-credit scene. We'll say that right now.
And actually,
won't say what it is, but stay post-credits. Post all the credits.
Yes.
Not the mid-credits. Stay post all the credits.
Because we get some fun mid-credity stuff with all the different news
news
clippings and
articles.
news stories.
That is
stuff.
very similar to the end of Kong Skull Island.
Yes.
Where they're showing stuff like that.
Which
and even Brightburn, yeah. But no, so that's all good. This movie, it made my creature-loving soul sing. That's what I will say. I was way more forgiving than Fuego as far as the human element being minimized, the human element not being as deep as it could have been, and the human element, I didn't connect to the human element as much as some people will. There was one point that I connected, and that ties into a fantastic actor, but outside of that, I didn't really connect to the human element that much, but that was not why I went to this movie. Yeah. I went to this movie to see freaking monsters battle monsters, and I got monsters battling monsters battling monsters battling monsters.
There's a battle
royale, and we got monsters that you don't even see in the trailer. It's so dope. It is. If you're anything like me, if you're a kaiju fan, and I'm not a rubber monster kaiju fan, I'm like a 1996 or later kaiju monster fan.
That doesn't really leave you a lot of options.
It doesn't, but I like that. I'm on board with the CG. I'm not on board with the rubber monsters as much, but this was so awesome and so much fun. My overall thoughts were I love the hell out of this movie, and I am very tempted to go back this weekend and watch more, if it weren't for the fact that we have to see Ma. We have to watch...
I have 2 more tickets for it tomorrow night. That's the thing. Remember?
Okay, I'm very tempted. I know. I was like, side of town, I'm seriously considering, like, maybe I'll go back and watch it tomorrow. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. So let's talk about the story, Fuego.
Yeah.
The story, again, we're going to keep this non-spoilerific, so we're going to be doing a separate spoiler video after this, but we want to, let's talk about everything non-spoilerific. So story-wise, we'll go ahead and give a brief overview and let us know what you thought of it.
I didn't like the story very much. I honestly really didn't.
Okay.
They, without spoiling stuff, they pursue kind of a almost
it's
like
not
it's almost like
the first
it's almost
Godzilla
like
movie.
But it's there's this whole
it's thin.
As my father would say, there's a bunny hugger terrorist aspect, almost like a super extreme PETA sort of thing. I know what you're referring to. I did not like it, and I didn't particularly think it worked. I'm not going to say who all was behind this, and that's where I found the predominance of the major
I feel like I can say that for this. I mean, really, who watches the old Godzilla movies for the characters? You're full of crap if you say I watched the old Godzilla movies for the character story arcs. Bullshit. You watch them for the creatures. The creatures are on spotlight. I understand that you want a good character arc. That's not what this movie's about. So, respectfully, Dino, I disagree.
I don't know. They had some pretty good characters in that Godzilla with Matthew Broderick and the dog walker in Mad About You. And I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I like Matthew Broderick in that movie. Don't get me started on Godzilla
You know what's
1997 or whatever the hell it was.
98.
That,
And you know what?
that movie made me cry.
I actually kind of like that movie.
I do too.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Focus.
I was even talking
Focus.
with Sarah and
Focus.
her husband. I know.
Focus.
I was like, yeah, when they had the little tiny Godzillas and they were like velociraptors and they're eating people. Anyway.
Minizillas.
Yes, and
Gadzookies.
and the soundtrack has got
American
like
Gadzookies.
No Shelter by Rage Against the Machine. Anyway,
sidetrack.
but so yeah. For this, there's a whole like animal rights save the
Theater.
earth terrorist subplot that I just really didn't like. And
Theater,
one
Maximilian.
character in particular's rationale I thought was really stupid and askew and very poorly thought out, as you find out very quickly into the plan that it was very poorly thought out.
I agree. I will agree.
Yeah, and also
I'm
just
not saying it's sin-free, this movie.
yeah, and I don't think characters were like human characters were written very, very tropily, especially when said father comes in and he's just like dur dur dur, and he's just acting very and we can
I know what
more
you're
so
saying.
into that with acting, and he's like.
And the motivations for characters seem to blow with the wind.
Yes.
I listen.
It was
I acknowledge all of that.
Lots of knee-jerk reactions.
I acknowledge all of that.
And yet I'm
do.
forgiving of it because I had so much fun with everything else. But, I mean, if I'm going to be an objective reviewer, and I do consider myself a, entertainment journalist at this rate after all the years of doing this kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm objective.
And yet...
I'm saying I agree with you.
I'm not saying you're not.
I'm saying I agree with you. The human characters got short shrift. I'm just saying that I'm not penalizing the movie as much for it because... That's not what I'm going to this movie for.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where, I mean, you have to just focus upon what this movie does so well with the scripting, and it does things so well with the action set pieces and with just the entire look of this film. But if you're going to ask yourself, oh, why can a character walk out of a secret hidden bunker without anybody knowing that she's just walking out with the most important piece of equipment that they have, then you're just going to sit there and think, okay, I don't know. But what did you think of the story, sir?
The story, I feel like, yes, the story could have been stronger. I admit to that. But again, that's not the point that I'm going to see this movie. I mean,
I like the Monarch mythology building.
The Monarch mythology building is good.
All the different sites across the world.
And guys, they reference Kong numerous times in this movie.
Tons of times. And
they
Skull
reference
Island.
Kong and Skull Island, and they are creating this world. But
March 13th, 2020, Kong versus Godzilla.
Here's the thing. Yes, if I'm going to try and put on my objective critic hat, this movie has weak story elements. This movie does not have well-developed characters. Straight up.
No.
I'm perfectly willing to admit that.
But
and if that is going to ruin your enjoyment of a movie like this, then don't see it.
I don't think
because you're not going to enjoy it. But that again, yes, I agree. I don't think it should.
Though.
I don't think it should. I think at the very most,
it's popcorn fun, man.
And look, if I'm going to give it a grade, like this was an A+ fucking creature movie, but I will say that the movie on the whole is a B+.
Yeah, I would say if I took everything into account, it's a B.
Yeah,
for me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not a bad movie, but it's just bad in certain things it didn't put as much attention towards.
Yeah, but it was
didn't
purposeful that
and it didn't
way.
Need
yeah.
to.
Again, if you're not going to get like a Grapes of Wrath in the middle of a freaking giant kaiju fight. You're just not.
What was the phrase I uttered all the time in the early days when Fuego came with you? I was like, this isn't Shakespearean theater we're anticipating
exactly.
here. It's like,
exactly. The movie is fun. So the story, yes, the story can be a bit lackluster, but I mean, we didn't even really touch on the fact that it's about a family that has splintered, okay? So Vera Farmiga from the Conjuring universe is the mother of Millie Bobby Brown, and there is a sort of X dynamic between her and the gentleman from that you mentioned before who plays the father.
Yeah, whose name I just cannot recall.
I don't either. It doesn't matter.
Killing me. Anyway,
so that is the human story element that's going on throughout kind of the rest of the movie. And then
their family was hurt massively during the 2014 Godzilla attack in San Francisco.
Right. And so there is a machine that is kind of built that mimics the sonic signatures of certain creatures.
Which I like that bit.
I like that too. Yeah. And that is the trigger for the storyline for this movie. That's
Where's
as far
Teddy
as
when
I'm
we
going to go.
need him if we're triggering people?
It's that's the farthest I'm going to go with the story, but that's why all of these other creatures come into play. I mean, you see from the trailer that Mothra is going to show up. You see from the trailer that King Ghidorah, is going to show up. You see that Rodan is there. And the way...
The queen of the monsters, as the one character referred to her.
Right. So, point, I mean, well, to Mothra, anyway. Yeah, there is... The creatures are amazing, and then there's more even beyond those. And, again, I don't want to ruin things, but... You know, there's even more creatures. Did they show that other big
creature that's well known from the franchise in the trailers? I can't remember.
No, that's okay. Well, they showed bits and pieces of those creatures rising, and they even showed in one of the trailers that Watanabe says there's 17.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do say that there's more creatures than just what they show, and they do deliver on that promise.
They did.
But yeah, I mean, story-wise, it's just a little bit weak, but I think... Before we get into anything else, I think we have to jump into effects because that is the biggest thing about this movie is the effects.
They spent most of their money on, and we've seen our fair share of bad CGI effects. These creatures looked as top-notch as I can imagine. They looked fantastic, especially Ghidorah, you know, legitimately. Some of those fights with Godzilla were just as... I don't know, man. Some of the best things that I have ever seen creature-wise put onto screen, especially with, like, necks being chewed on and, like, ripped off and all these other things and limbs and, you know, gore and even...
Straight up times where I'm like, oh, man, that sucks.
And,
like,
the one beat in the third act with Mothra, I thought was really awesome.
Yes,
with another creature we won't name.
Dude,
there's some cool stuff in this movie, man.
They do. Like, it is a monster kind of battle royale at one point.
Don't get the vibe that I hated on this movie. I had issues with certain aspects, but for the most part,
He's giving more weight to the lack of character development than I am.
Yeah. I walked out really enjoying this movie despite my problems with it, you know.
Honestly, again, I'm excited to go back and watch it again just because... Guys, if you're on the fence, like, should I wait for VOD or should I go and see this in the theater? For a movie
like this is a
100% theater experience.
I mean, if you're going to see any sort of big spectacle film, whether it's a Marvel movie or, you know, whether it's, I mean, God forbid, even like a Transformers film, this is something that needs to be seen on the big screen. It's one of the few instances where it just has to be seen on the biggest flippin' screen possible because these big epic films, they don't translate as well if you're watching on your stinking little phone or your tablet. God forbid.
I shudder to think of the people that watch this on the phone the first time because that is absolutely not what this is about. I'm just gonna wait till I can torrent it on my Galaxy. So
fuck off.
I love Mothra, says Shauna Smith. Mothra is beautiful in this movie. Like,
yeah, agreed.
Mothra is a point of gorgeosity. You know, that's not a word.
I like it.
But it is.
Hashtag gorgeosity.
Yeah, Mothra is amazing in this movie. Rodan is amazing in this movie and scary. Like, imagine a giant freaking fire freaking pterodactyl. Like, that is what Rodan is, and my God. Here's something I should mention, right, you know, closer to the beginning than the end. I legitimately got unnerved in my seat and was, like, picking up my legs at times, and, like, because I have a legitimate fear, not legitimate, I have a genuine fear of kaiju.
It's
like, I have been...
Legitimate.
Sharks and kaiju have always been two big things, and tremors. Those are the three biggest things that have haunted my nightmares throughout my life. So I still have nightmares about these.
Big creatures.
Anything that wants to eat me is the problem.
Yeah, something larger in scale to you.
But this
that
specifically,
could eat you or squash you or
tell me, like, I love dragon movies. Yeah. I love these giant creature movies. Reign of Fire is one of my favorites just because of the dragons.
It's good.
King Ghidorah. Catching myself every time.
Just to interject, Rob, yes, we saw it in IMAX tonight, and
we did see it in IMAX.
The recommended film.
Absolutely, if you have an IMAX,
biggest
see it in
screen
IMAX.
Possible, man.
But King Ghidorah was utterly frightening, and there were so many times that echoed nightmares that I've had where I am one lone person either on the street or in a giant... There is a part where there is a character alone in a giant skyscraper that is trying to like just avoid being noticed but still accomplish some things. And at one point, this character gets noticed through the window, and legitimately, like, all of my anxiety rose in my body. Like, this is the nightmare that I've had so many times.
Especially
when the thing looks and is like, oh, you, and that scares the crap out of me.
Lots of Jurassic Park
yes,
callbacks.
And I love, well,
with
and
like
I love Jurassic
the
Park.
Half like lizard.
Yeah,
like,
dude, I love that for that reason. Again,
Yeah.
giant lizards trying to eat you.
Yeah.
Dude, this was so unnerving to me, and if you're anything like that, then this will be unnerving to you as well.
And
it's not a scare-filled movie.
No, it's not
at all.
Yeah,
unless this kind of stuff gets to you, which it does. It does for me.
And the aforementioned scene you were discussing was especially effective because of the fact that it's really the only character I really cared a lot about, because of the fact that just caught in just the planing and the silliness of said older characters and whatnot, without really getting into too much detail.
Dino's making me laugh. Maybe I'll wait for the HD cam version to come out. Oh, disservice. All right,
shout out, Dino.
Let's talk about sound, or actually more specifically music.
The score, dude.
Okay, yeah, music. Yeah,
the score to this, as I hinted earlier, it was so operatic and just bigger than life. With it, I mean, you have like goth choirs with literal strings and just all this different stuff
with amazing throwbacks to past scores. Like there is a throwback to the original Godzilla score. Where it's like the dun dun dun, like that sort of score. There's an homage to that.
We even get a new version of the BOC song, which I can't say I was as fond
of.
Dude,
they did an homage to the original Mothra theme, like and like all they bring all of that in. It's so awesome. The sound design goes hand in hand with the score, but the sound design was amazing in this.
Terrific.
I want to see this,
especially in an IMAX.
I saw it in no. Here's the thing. I saw it in IMAX. I now want to go to the AMC Dolby screen because I think the AMC Dolby screens have better sound than the IMAX theaters.
Yeah,
and maybe because they have the ceiling,
better
speakers and everything.
Comes to the
IMAX better screen, but
immersive
sound. I think the AMC Dolby screens have it. So
that's where we saw Alita, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how immersive was that, dude?
Yeah, that was quite
Makes such a difference. So I want to go and see this there. Okay. And like feel really thrown into the fights and stuff like that.
Well, I got that AMC list, bro. Maybe we should do that.
I'm not smart. I want to pet Godzilla. I would have loved to have pet Godzilla.
Millie Bobby Brown tries to.
Yeah, it's well, Millie Bobby Brown was good in this movie.
Okay, let's talk about the acting then, because we didn't really talk too much about it. One of the things that as we were breaking down, the stacked cast of people and just familiar faces and stuff like that, I think that's why I went in with higher expectation for how these characters were going to be written, and yet they were a little more on the paper thin side. But I did think she stole the show, and she really does in so many things. It was really I hated Vera Farmiga's character. I absolutely could not.
Did you hate her because of her acting or because of how she was written?
Because of the way she was written.
Yeah, I agree.
God, was she just her rationale, and then...
Well, you careful.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to save this for the spoiler review. But, yeah, it just... And with the subplot of the fractured family and why, and they're just like, oh, so-and-so went and did this after this happened, and so-and-so did that, and then she hides herself away in this work, and so... I don't know, but... Millie is kind of her character is caught in the thick of things, in the middle struggle, and I mean, I guess it's a mild spoiler. It's a broken home. After this disaster transpires, it's a broken home. So mother and father are no longer together. Father is emailing her, and Vera's character is like, he's just going to disappoint you. Don't talk to him. Blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. And I don't know, but Millie, I thought she's good in pretty much everything I've seen her in at this point, and she's going to be a big star as the years go on, man. Yeah. I genuinely think so. And of all the humor that I felt, there was a lot of humor I felt flat. This movie did not take itself as seriously as the previous Godzilla movie, in my opinion. There was a little bit more humor injected throughout.
A little bit.
And some of it fell flat, but Middleditch, I thought, actually did a solid job in the role that he was given as far as, the successor to the Millie Bobby Brown father character, and but he was good. Everybody else I thought was just okay, but yeah. So,
yeah, no, I would agree with you on pretty much all of that. Millie Bobby Brown stands out. I liked Vera Farmiga's acting, but yes, the writing on her character was a little bit rough. The writing on the father I thought was a little bit rough.
Also, the guy from Underworld, right?
And Game of Thrones.
And, he's on Game of Thrones?
Well, no, I don't know if he was in Underworld, but he was big in Game of Thrones.
Okay, well, I recognized him from, I'm presuming, a ton of different movies, and I was just trying to put my finger on. He's the head of...
he was Tyrion's father in Game of Thrones, for anyone that
there you go.
wants to know.
Well, he's involved with this, and you find out very, very early on. He's part of this terrorist organization. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yes, there were shortcomings to the movie, but if you're going into it for big monster kaiju fun, you're going to get absolutely big monster kaiju fun.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is maybe where we should end.
Because there's just so much to potentially spoil.
There's a lot to potentially spoil, and I honestly just want you guys to go and experience it for yourselves. It's so much fun. Don't wait to watch it on a smaller screen. Go pay and watch it on a big screen, because this is one of those rare movies that is absolutely worth seeing on a big screen for specifically those purposes. Your Marvel movies, your DC movies, and your big kaiju movies. Go and watch it in the big screen. You're going to do yourself a disservice if you don't.
Yeah, if you're more on the fence, wait till your day off and hit up the, matinee and AMC, or I don't know, whatever your local theater is that gives a discounted daytime price. You need to see it on something that gives proper scale and scope to these badass creatures, because that's the most badass aspect of this film, is the creatures, their design, and them just, kicking the crap out of each other. It's fun. It's very, very entertaining to watch. And, shortcomings aside, I still did quite like this film. So,
Shauna, to answer your direct question, it fell flat more in the writing area, not so much in the acting or directing area.
Yeah,
the directing was great.
Was terrific in this.
Michael Dougherty stepped his ass up big time. It looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's
even though he co-wrote
very
the
worth
script.
your time, guys. So there you go. We're gonna go ahead and call this as our non-spoiler review. We're gonna film a separate spoiler section, but thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click that like button and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. We have a lot coming up on the channel in the near future. So until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared. How do I stop this again?
No.